If Los Angeles had started a discussion about the possibility of a big season shake-up, San Francisco was to provide a new wave of topics to digest and discuss. Going into the event, the British were still on top, just. Canada was climbing the ladder. The Danes were still out of the competition after their collision with a mark. And then there was the question of whether the Australian dominance had come to an end. But in this event, there were bigger shake-ups in store. San Francisco is a regular venue for SailGP. It's notorious for its challenging conditions too. So it was perhaps of little surprise that during the build-up to the event, the chatter had been about strong winds and big tides. The latter could be predicted, but the breeze less so. And when day one got underway, conditions looked perfect. If it was close competition that you were looking for, the scoreline looked perfect too. 4 races and 3 different winners. The first race went to the French, who delivered a commanding opening race, with the Australians in second and the Spanish in third. The second race looked good for the Germans, but a boundary penalty handed the lead to Jar Scott's North Star Canada team, who took the win. Then, in the third race, while Canada pushed them hard, it was the Spanish who led the fleet around the course to take their first bullet of the event. It was difficult to say whether this was the spur the Canadians needed or whether their final race of the day was simply an example of a team on fire. But the fourth and final race of the day put Scott's team in the lead once again. Meanwhile, the Australians had delivered the most consistent performance of the day, with a second, 2/3 and a fourth. Overall success isn't always about winning the most races, and their scoreline suggests that they were a team to look out for once again. At the other end of the scale, the British, who'd gone into this event as the overall series leaders, had had a poor day, with an 8th in the first race and last in the fourth. The Kiwis had delivered a lacklustre performance too.
Yeah, I think we overtook a few, but definitely went backwards at times as well, which was a little bit frustrating not to have a few better scores on the scoreboard. I think the team's just doing a better and better job understanding these T-foils and how to make the most of them.
It seemed when we got a better start, we didn't overtake as well, and when we got a poorer start, we did overtake. So we ended up with very similar results. I think 2s, 3s, 4s, and a really good day for us. Consistency is so important. There's a couple of times there where I thought we might be able to get into the top 2 and challenge for a win, but we sort of made a couple of little errors here and there. But overall, we've got to be happy.
Unfortunately, we couldn't really get it together and struggled a couple of the races, so we'll have to have a look at what we need to work on overnight, but all in all, not our finest day.
It was a day to push today. It was really nice flat water, and I think almost all teams were pushing about as hard as they possibly could. But there's plenty going on with the race course as well, plenty of calls to make. It's really nice to be on a bigger course for the first time in a while. Stretch your legs, pick a few shifts. It was good. We had a really good day today. Plenty going on out there, and we just kept our noses clean and sailed well. It was solid.
But if there had been tension around day one, the second day was to deliver the kind of drama you can't usually write. In the opening race, France took the first win. At least that's how it looked. But a post-finish penalty for interfering with Emirates GBR pushed them into second, and Switzerland into first. The next race saw the Spanish get the best start and hold their advantage to the end. While the winners varied from race to race, the Australians, who came second, were remaining consistent and looking like a serious threat. But it was the final fleet race of the day that delivered the drama, as the Australians lost their mast just seconds before the start in a fast-moving and tightly grouped fleet. Fortunately and miraculously, no one was hurt, and no other boats seemed to be involved. Shortly after the race, the reasons for the dismasting were still unknown, but it was clear that Slingsby and his crew were shaken.
It's a bit of shock, obviously. Very scary situation. We all are unharmed and we're all okay, but when something like that happens, all you think about is everyone going to get through this? And fortunately, we're all safe, and that's the first priority, and now we just got to try to save the boat as best we can. It's heartbreaking. Obviously, the
the results and the points are what they are. We're not even concerned about that. It's just saving the boat the best we can. Everyone's safe, and yeah, look, we've got a lot of work to do here.
As the race unfolded, it was the Kiwis that took the win, but this was insufficient to get them into the final. Instead, it should have been the Spanish, Canadians and the Australians that were going through, but with no mast, Slingsby's place went to the French. Often in SailGP, it's the leading boat off the start line in the final that takes the match, but not here. This was a match that was tightly fought and saw a complete reversal of the fleet after just 3 legs. The French fired off the start line at pace and looked set to control the race. The Canadians were second and the Spanish third. The key moment came at the bottom gate, where the Spanish chose the opposite gate to the other two and headed out into the strong ebb tide on what looked like a lift. By the time they came back on starboard to the pair that had gone city side, the Spanish were in the lead. A lead that they held until the end to take the San Francisco title. Canada was second, with the French in third.
This is a crucial moment for us, I think, in the season, because we didn't start so well. We couldn't put everything together, and I think we've worked really well between events, between Elaine and here, and we managed to pull it off here, which is a very good push for the team. Also, it keeps us in the fight, and it's really good.
It feels amazing to win. I mean, it was super tight racing. We were super happy with our weekend and to come out on top on the overall standings and to get into the final like that. So we were feeling quite confident with how we were sailing and how we were starting, and super happy to finish it off well in the final.
It's all a bit of a blur, if I'm honest. I would love to see some of the camera angles, because I think everyone here's seen more than I have. But I remember that we're coming into the start, we were sort of looking for a gap. We realised there wasn't going to be a gap, so we sort of conceded and turned up. I thought we were clear behind Italy, and I thought we were above the USA boat. I don't really know what happened, but my guess is that the wing failed right at that moment. We turned up sharply, and and then it was just a matter of hoping everyone was okay, everyone getting their heads down, and as the wing sort of fell all around us, then your thoughts come to our season, and can we get replacements in time, and can we be at the next event, and points situations and all that. But I'm not even going to really worry about that. It's really, I'm just sort of processing. I want to figure out what happened.
You know, we crossed the line in second and we're pretty frustrated, but you know, look, we qualified for the final in second place. It's a solid weekend of racing for us, and yeah, we could have done a few things different in that final race, and a win would have been good, but just wasn't to be.
Yeah, we were in great shape on the second race. Just rounded Mark 1 and popped the windward rudder out of the water and crashed. And I think everyone's, heart sank at that point. We knew we were going to be last, and to be honest, it took all my courage inside to not get really angry. But we fought back and managed to overtake some boats, so we've got to take something out of that.
5 winners in 5 events says it all so far, and underlines the theory that this season's going to be a tight one. The Spanish had sailed well throughout the weekend, as had the Canadians and the French. But given the thought that we could be in store for a big shuffle on the leaderboard, the front runners were now the team that had been dismasted, the Australians, by 1 point to the British, with Spain in third. The next stop is a new one for SailGP, Rio de Janeiro in Brazil.